there's someone who lives in my neighborhood who's a Jimmy Dore fan. And the reason I know that is because when I moved into the neighborhood, he recognized me from the Majority Report. And he's very friendly, very nice guy. We'll have discussions, debates about stuff when I see him and, walking outside. We don't agree about everything, but he was a big Jimmy Dore fan. And the other day I run into him and he says to me how he's disappointed in Jimmy Dore. And I was like, why? And he's like, he was looking at Jimmy Dore's channel the other day. And all it is COVID stuff after COVID stuff after COVID stuff. And then he looked at the one non-COVID clip in that, that strain of clips, string of clips.
Anti-vax COVID.
Anti-vax, yes. It was like COVID hoax, anti-vax stuff. And then the one non-COVID anti-vax video was a clip looking back on the 1-year anniversary of Force the Vote. Yep. And this is a guy who was totally on board with Force the Vote, I should say. He believed that was a good thing. So, but I'm not going to get there. But he was really shitty and said a lot about the direction that Dore was going. That Force the Vote anniversary clip only had like 50,000 views, and all the other clips surrounding it, but on the anti-vax stuff, all had 150,000 views, 250,000 views, 400,000 views. And I was like, yeah, man, I mean, he's clearly he knows where the bread and butter is now. He doesn't care about Force the Vote anymore. It's not supplying him with the audience or the views.
Jimmy's purism as far as Medicare for All and the Force the Vote thing only started once it became useful for him, which is after, say, the primary, when there was one person who supported it, and he endorsed a candidate.
Supported Medicare
for All, and he endorsed a candidate who said single payer was un-American. And then he decides, because it became like out of the realm of possibility, because Joe Biden, the guy who said he vetoed Medicare for All, actually won, a guy who, by the way, Tulsi endorsed. Then it was a useful media thing for a little bit, and that's clearly all it was. Like that, all they wanted to do was to monetize basically the coming failure to get Medicare for All.
Right. I mean, I just brought it up to basically point out that, there is a Jimmy Dore audience that is being turned off by what he's doing, and I think it's important to continue to call him out, because there are well-meaning people who, when you watch someone over the years, for as long as some of these fans must have been, it's hard to, like, I could imagine if Sam Seder was out there and did an about face all of a sudden. Some people listening to him for a decade, I'm sure they wouldn't turn on him.
I mean, like, you say that, but Sam wouldn't do that because, like,
right, of course he wouldn't. Right. But I'm just using that as an example. Like, people watch.
Even when I worked with Jimmy, I had, like, okay, this guy's a little cuckoo. Like, I mean, I didn't, even when he was saying progressive stuff, like, there was never a realism that underpinned it. It was just like, let's follow the wind of the views.
It's still amazing to me that this is the guy that spat at Alex Jones when he met him in person. I mean, I feel like nowadays, I mean, in some instances, I feel like maybe Alex Jones would spit at him this time.
No, they're probably going to do business together. But
yeah, they're buddies.
This is a guy who literally...
They could be buddies.
Anti-YT said anyone who goes on Tucker Carlson should have a serious think about themselves and the racism they're engaging in. Right? He literally said that Anti-YT like within a half decade.
Right. It's... Speaking of this man, between the 101 and the 5 says, I ate a bunch of horse shit because Jimmy Dore told me to and still got COVID. But now I just smoke Sunset Lake, say bad day, all day, every day. No COVID, bitches. All right.